Hi guys, welcome back to the garden. It is the last day of March today, and this video is going out tonight, so this is not going to be a particularly well edited one. Saying that, that's the sun and I need my hat, so there we go, all better. Right, so it's the last day of March, as I say. I am flat out with work now. However, I've also been busy in my own garden. Yes! So we're going to have a quick look around and I'll show you what I've been doing. And there's a couple of little projects on the go at the moment, and I'll show you and talk you through those as well. So we're going to start with the back gate, which is a very boring view, but this fence got painted. A couple of coats of more black paint. Obviously that still needs weeding. And then the Miscanthus giganteus, I hacked that all down. That should be shooting out soon. I was at customers last week where I'd put some of my divisions in their garden for them. I'd done a new border and they had some new shoots on that, so probably in there somewhere is some new shoots, but the newts overwinter in it, so I've just covered it back over until the green stuff starts poking through. Then here we have the Phormium. Let me go so the sun's not in the camera. The Phormium, I was going to do this last year, but I was too late for hazel sticks. I've made a frame around it just to lift these up a little bit, and then it will give me a slightly better view of the ferns that are down here. And the Musa sikimensis I had to cut back just so I could get in. They are rotted down to the ground again. However, the rhizome that's underneath there, I've got an offcut from a bit closer to the Phormium, and it is perfectly fine, so that will reshoot. But I think this year, once it started shooting, I'm going to pull it out and just have a smaller, lower soft edging along here. And then obviously we've got the Persicaria behind it that always grows up and fills all in. The rest of the bed in here doesn't look too much different. However, there are some rabbit protections in now, and actually this is a good chance. I haven't checked these for a week or two, but the heucheras that were in here were completely leafless. The rabbits have completely destroyed them, so it's good to see that they are actually bouncing back a bit now. The fuchsia is starting to come into bud, so I will be giving that a prune back again soon. Whilst we've got some crown fritillaries over the back there that have got some flowers coming through. There is normally a crowned fritillary in here somewhere, but I don't see anything, just the bluebells. So I may have lost that one. So we'll go around. There's the hazel sticks. I've got another bundle for the other one on the raised beds. So we'll go around to the summer house. Everything here is looking fine. The Impatiens, the hardy Impatiens, has come through no problem whatsoever. Just giving it a bit of protection. The rabbits hadn't eaten anything on it yet, but it's my only one and I just wanted to protect it. And then here we have a pineapple pole hosta just starting to show through, so that's doing well. The Fatsia, I think I'm just basically going to cut it off down to near enough the ground level again, and just try and get it to shoot out a bit more. Then the fascicular is all fine. This hanging basket I need to replace. Everything down here I think is okay. Basically I haven't touched it since last year is the actual truth. But the little baby T-Rexes I pulled up that were suckers have done fine. Everything looks healthy, including this bucket of I forget what it's called, stuff with really tall with purple, but that's been sat in water all winter because there's no holes in it. The Melianthus is doing fine, yeah, and it didn't rot, which is good. So I think this is barely pulled through from the rabbits eating it. And then the begonia that's down here, I've just protected them. They hadn't been eating it because it hasn't come through yet, but they had been digging and I'd lost a few bulblets. And then somewhere in there is my Blue Angel hosta. It's always later to come out, but I've found it's struggled the last couple of years, so whether it's made it through or not is another guess. The Loquat is doing fine. Let's go back a bit so you can see a bit more. Yeah, the Loquat is actually doing quite well. Lots of new growth up there. The Eucalyptus has shot off well. I need to think about just pruning out all of this green growth and just choosing a few leaders for branches. And then over here, the Gunnera has woken up. I need to start watering that because I haven't checked. I'm pretty sure throughout all of March we've had certainly less than a centimetre of rain. It may not have rained at all, apart from maybe a couple of bits overnight. The pond bridge is still needing replacement, so I'm going to go around it. And then project number one, looking a little bit different here, is the conifer that was half dead. There was barely any green on it. I decided, I think last time I'd gone up to there and I wasn't going to go too much further in the first year. I started to do this so that I can finish the pond end up here. If I replace the bridge and lift all of this up and redo it, I thought I might as well make a nice end up here. So that means cutting it back there. And then I noticed that down here was the rabbit capital. You can see a nice little rabbit hole down there, and there was several more down here. This is the back of my neighbour's compost pile, and I went over there to speak to them about some work, and they said yeah, it's down the back there. So I thought, you know what, they've cut their side back entirely to the trunk, so I'm just going to do mine, keep the ivy and just let the ivy grow in. The ivy will probably need a prune next year, or this winter I should say. So yeah, I've got a lot of waste to get rid of. The Achilles though, all coming through. Again, rabbit proofed all of those. The alders are coming through. No signs of the cannas, but we aren't even into April, so that's fine. I forget what this was called, but this got quite heavily damaged by the rabbits. But it's still got some growth on this, so that's doing okay. Then we'll swing around. This bed I've tried to protect from the rabbits as much as I can, and every now and again they get themselves in there. So I did lose most of this heuchera, but again this has bounced back a little bit. And Formium has struggled there as well. Then at the base of the Trachycarpus is Mahonia softcrest that they did completely kill off. The Arbutus has made it through without too many problems, and then this is the other Formium that I just want to put some hazel canes around and just lift up ever so slightly. The daffodils are all out, looking absolutely gorgeous. So when we moved in, there was, if I go down the side you'll see it a lot easier, there was a straight line where the daffodils were. You can see it there. So the daffodils were all here in a straight line, and there wasn't anything over here, but there was a bed over here where they were in. And when I done the gardening and designed all the beds, I removed them and then just stuck them all under here. So we've got a few different varieties. I don't know what ones are what, but we've got these ones which are bright yellow with a nice orange centre, then some paler yellows with orange centres, these pale white with the peachy centres, and then some like doubles, or no, I think it might even be a triple looking at it, white with orange centres. And then we've got over there on the left is some tete-a-tetes, and then over there is some, I think they're either double or triple whites, but give a nice splash of colour. You know, some of them are starting to go over, they've been out for a couple of weeks. Everything else in this bed has just been cleared up. That's about it. The conifer is being stopped about where I finished, and then I'll do this in another year, because this isn't quite so bad, and there isn't any rabbits that I'm aware of in there, and there isn't really much of a fence either. So with our dog, I want to just make sure it's not too holy for him, to put it in other ways. Then we'll go down here. The Clematis armandii came out to flower about a week, 10 days, and smells absolutely glorious when you get it in the sunshine. Lots of nice new strong growth all up it. I keep trying to push it through, but I'm going to have to tie a couple of bits in place, because I want it to go round on that side as well and not reach out into the bamboo like that. Down here I did end up protecting a couple more pieces. So the Daphne actually is now just starting to come out into bud, so hopefully that's fine. I don't think that damage was the rabbits. I think that was either a branch or my dog bashing it. Then a large space to grow many weeds. Then I have this Sophoria, which is the only one. I bought 3 about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's the only one that's actually made it through from the rabbits. So I've given that some protection. I might end up getting a couple more, because they should be easy to grow, but we'll see. Then all of these bulbs, nothing came up to flower. We've got a few muscari. We did have a couple of crocuses, but the rabbits just spent most of the time mowing them down every few days. Then I'm pretty certain this is muntjac. I've never seen them in our garden. I've seen footprints when this was boggy, but literally a couple of days ago when I was in the neighbour's garden, I was going around with them discussing planting, hedging with them, and out over the back, which is kind of a bit of a wasteland that's just used for hay, we saw a muntjac nice and out in the open. Actually, one of the other projects I've been doing is the chicken coop. I've just put these old concrete blocks in just to keep the wooden panels off of the ground. They'll probably transmit some moisture, but it's better than it being sat in actual boggy ground, and it gives me a nice flat edge, plus something that the foxes can't dig in through. Got a few gaps I just need to cut some blocks and do. However, my panels come up to about just below the door hinge, so there's a roof on it. Actually the doors won't open, so I have to cut that off and put the hinges lower and put some new stuff on the top. The base was redone as well. That was on a couple of pallets. They had all rotted and it was all uneven, so I had some sleepers left over. I bought one new sleeper, and then the centre is filled with gravel so that rodents can't make a nest or home underneath them and get into the chicken coop, just to keep the chickens a bit more safe. The compost piles are full, and I need to find time to shift everything over, because I've only got one pile of compost there and that's half gone. That pile is just a spare one for the moment while we move things around. I then planted some hazels down here. So these are all hazels. They're just a standard basic variety, nothing fancy for nut production. It's more so that I get hazel canes more than anything. And I cleared out most of this tussocky area of all the thistles and brambles, just a bit over there to go. Some fruit trees that have been put in. We've got 4 fruit trees. I've been planting some apples, just something else just to go along the edge there. Then we'll turn around and go back up the garden the other way. And there's little Ori. Hey Ori. Who's a good boy? Who's our good boy? Up the garden. Need to get in and start ripping out some of these nettles that are coming through from the neighbour's compost pile, but then the lilies are all coming through there. Looks like the rabbits have been giving them a good old munch, so I probably need to put some mesh around those as well. Did not think they would want to eat those, but apparently they do. Peonies are starting to show through quite strongly. Everything's coming into growth, which is nice. Not had much in the way of flowers on... Where are they? Yeah, this is the remains of... It's going to escape me. I will put it up on the screen now because I will not remember. But no flowers really, just the odd one or two. Virginias I cut back when I'd done all of the hedging, and they're starting to shoot back now. Then everything's still in the greenhouse at the moment. If we go in here, all of my pots are still in here. Oh, it's a little bit warmer. Everything seems to have made it through. The Albricia's got loads of buds on. My wife's fuchsias all seem to be green underneath the brown bark. So I think everything's made it through. Potatoes, new, or I should say early potatoes, are all coming through nicely. My overwintered leeks are doing okay. This I think was carrots. I'm pretty sure I put labels on them, but apparently not. But they're growing weeds from my own compost at the moment. Then we've got some leek seedlings, and then spring onions have not done anything. I never have luck with onions, and actually it's one of the few times I've had luck with leek. And then over here we've got some beetroot, some chard, some pak choy, and some perpetual spinach, peas, lettuce. So we're going through all of the process of doing the seeds at the moment. We'll step back out. Then this bed round here needs a bit of a weed. It could really do with a bit of extra compost on there. The rabbits did get to one or two of the dahlias and damage some of the tubers, but hopefully they're fine to bounce back. This eucalyptus really needs a new stake at some point, but it's on my list to do, and I am working my way through it, so we'll see. The pond fountain or waterfall is not running at the moment. I think the pump is clogged, so I just need to give that a clean out, and assuming we've got the algae, I'm going to be draining the pond to do the bridge and stuff. However, my wife did say she saw some some frog spawn or toad spawn somewhere in there, and the frogs were in, so might be a bit too late to do that already, but we'll see. I will certainly clear out some of this muck and get the waterfall running. Might be that the bridge and the other end has to wait till next year now. This bed is all fine. The Tetrapanax is shooting out very, very quickly. I don't think I've lost really any height whatsoever. It was such a mild winter. However, I did lose that Echium in the end. I don't think this is healthy at any point down the stem, so that will have to come out at some point. Everything here though is all doing fine. The Hemeroclus are all coming through nicely. This hydrangea has kind of been forced up. I think this is probably by the acanthus, that when I planted this, there was the acanthus here before, and some of the roots snap off because they're obviously fleshy things, and every bit of root shoots. So I think I'm going to have to lift this out and re-clear out all of the scraps of root and replant it. But that's another job for another week. Then the other project, very quickly, is the barbecue. I won't go into too much details because there's going to be a separate video on that, but I've now spray foamed it, so there'll be a video some point in April, hopefully. This is looking very sad, but there are... oh, where are we? There we are. There are buds. And then back up to the main area. So that's a quick whip around the garden. As I say, end of March, things are starting to wake up. The more cold tolerant things. But we've still got a way to go. We could, could still have snow and minus temperatures. Fingers crossed it stays mild as it has been. 16-17 degrees during the day is very pleasant. And then, kind of 5 to 10 degrees overnight would be very nice. Last night was down to about 1 or 2 degrees. There was a touch of frost on the roof. So I will see you in April for the next update.